Hello everyone watching me out there. My name is Ninyikiriza Deborah Lynn and I'm a student at Universitas at Majaya, Jakarta, and I'm here to present you this paper entitled Strategic Information Systems Planning for Higher Education in Uganda. I'll begin by defining what is SISP. Strategic Information Systems Planning is a step-by-step connection between information technology and business to create alignment. What is alignment? Alignment fully addresses how business must be aligned with IT and how IT must be aligned with the business and develop a competitive performance. In higher education, therefore, strategic information systems planning is very important for SISP operations and competitiveness, and it enhances and improves operational efficiency. This paper aimed to introduce a SWOT analysis in the Ugandan Higher Education Institute and to suggest strategies that Uganda institution leaders can follow to reach their success. The method used in this study is that the researchers gathered SISP information about higher education institutions in Uganda. After understanding this information, later a SWOT analysis was suggested to equip Ugandan higher education institutions with a strategic information systems plan. The SWOT analysis that includes the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats was applied as a method in the study. We begin by the strength. With the researchers found out that the National Council has a legal mandate to help it carry out tasks. There is a conducive working environment. There is a variability of space. And the objectives suggested were that the law should be continually amended, maintenance of ICT facilities and equipment, establishment of appropriate modalities, and motivation of the staff. When it comes to weaknesses, the researchers found out that there is a large governing council, there is understaffing in higher education institutions in Uganda, there is inadequate funds to support ICT activities, there is poor monitoring and evaluation of ICT in higher education institutions, and the objectives of SISP suggested were to review the council composition, recruit more ICT professionals, generate more income generating agencies, develop and robust functional monitoring and evaluation systems for ICT in higher education institutions in Uganda. When it came to opportunities, we found out that there is an introduced technology which is management information systems in many institutions. The political wing supports higher education, and there are a lot of existing trained ICT professionals in education systems in Uganda. And the objectives suggested were to automate all processes in higher education, and the National Council must request for more funds from the government to support ICT in higher education institutions and train more ICT professionals to manage and support ICT systems in higher education systems in Uganda. When it came to threats, we found out that the attitude of international students is alarming. The social-political interference, weak and conflicting growth of institutional leaders, profit-minded institutions which are hard to regulate and cannot support SISP, and more others. And the objectives suggested were to establish leaders of universities to jointly handle issues, to put in place policies, and establish bridges regionally and internationally, disseminate ICT information widely, and so on. The results of this study found out that The strategic information system planning in higher education in Uganda is based on 6 core functions, and these are developing, implementing, and reviewing graduations for higher education, enhancing higher education for better quality performance, strengthening institutional data management, documentation and dissemination, strengthening research and innovation, improving resource mobilization at National Council of Higher Education, strengthening and supporting functions' ability to create an effective and efficient distribution of services in higher education institutions in Uganda. These 6 objectives, some ways were suggested of how these objectives can be implemented in higher education institutions in Uganda. They can be implemented by developing minimum standards and implementing them, strengthening the ability of human resource of higher education institutions, employing corresponding information systems in higher education institutions, operationalize the research policy, get more funding from government to support ICT in higher education institutions in Uganda, and strengthening the administration and human resource function in higher education institutions in Uganda. All these were the ways of how these SISP objectives can be implemented. In conclusion of this study, therefore, the researchers concluded that institutions of higher education must use appropriate strategies based on the existing plans of the institutions. Also, the researchers encouraged the use of a SWOT approach in structure as it helps to measure the effectiveness of information systems. The authors hope that if the mentioned SISP suggestions are implemented in Ugandan higher education institutions, strategic information systems planning can provide institutions with the capacity to reach their desired goals. Here comes the end of my presentation. Thank you so much for watching.